Greetings, dear listeners, and a warm welcome back to the Diplomacy and Discourse podcast. I'm your host, AR, and it is a genuine pleasure to have you join us again for this engaging discussion. In today's episode, we will discuss education. Education is a fundamental human right and a cornerstone for social and economic development. However, disparities in access to quality education persist globally, particularly in remote and conflict-affected areas. Addressing these disparities requires a multifaceted approach that includes leveraging technology, investing in infrastructure, and fostering community engagement. By prioritizing education in national budgets, forming partnerships between governments, NGOs, and the private sector, and advocating for policy changes, we can work toward equitable education for all. Success stories from countries like Rwanda and Finland demonstrate that significant progress can be made even in the most challenging circumstances, with the right strategies and commitment. As we navigate the complexities of global education access, we must recognize the importance of inclusive and sustainable solutions that empower all individuals, regardless of their geographic location or socioeconomic background. One of today's most pressing challenges is ensuring equitable access to education worldwide. Education is a basic human right and a fundamental social and economic development tool. Scholars have long recognized that education is essential in addressing long-standing inequalities and injustices, promoting equal opportunities for all individuals, regardless of their background or circumstances. However, despite numerous efforts and initiatives, education disparities persist in various parts of the world, particularly in the majority world. The majority world, characterized by high poverty levels and limited opportunities, continues to struggle with educational inequalities, resulting in low attainment levels and limited social mobility. These disparities can be attributed to various factors. Firstly, there is an over-reliance on external donor aid in these regions, making them vulnerable to fluctuations in funding and hindering sustainable development efforts. Additionally, issues such as child labor, gender inequalities, inadequate investments, and political and military conflicts contribute to the educational challenges faced by these countries. To address the critical issues of education access, we need to implement strategies to increase access and improve educational quality. It is essential to prioritize investments in education, particularly in regions most affected by educational disparities. One of the primary disparities in education access is the divide between developed and developing countries. In many Western nations, education is highly accessible, compulsory, and often free. Meanwhile, in non-Western countries, especially those facing economic hardships, access to quality education remains a significant challenge due to factors like poverty, war, and infrastructure limitations. By allocating adequate funding and resources, we can ensure that schools have the necessary infrastructure, qualified teachers, and educational materials to provide a quality learning environment for all students. In addition to financial investments, we must access the social and cultural barriers hindering access to education. We can create inclusive and equitable learning environments by promoting awareness and challenging societal norms restricting certain groups from accessing education. Moreover, we need to implement targeted interventions to address specific challenges, such as child labor and gender inequalities. For instance, providing financial incentives for families to keep their children in school can help combat the issue of child labor and encourage enrollment. Furthermore, we must prioritize efforts to close the gender gap in education. This can be done by ensuring equitable opportunities for girls to access education and addressing cultural norms and biases hindering their enrollment and retention. In addition to addressing these immediate challenges, we must also focus on building long-term sustainability in education systems. This can be achieved through capacity-building initiatives, such as teacher training and professional development, strengthening educational institutions, and promoting research and innovation in education. To overcome the technical and infrastructure challenges faced by developing countries, particularly in the context of online learning, efforts must be made to bridge the digital divide. This can be done by investing in the necessary technology and infrastructure, improving internet connectivity and access, and providing affordable hardware and software solutions. Moreover, engaging with international partners and organizations is crucial to mobilizing resources and supporting education access. This can include collaborations for sharing best practices, funding initiatives, and knowledge exchange to ensure that education access is prioritized globally. Investing in infrastructure to improve education access involves various aspects. This includes building and renovating schools and ensuring classrooms have basic facilities like electricity, clean water, and sanitation. It also involves providing transportation infrastructure, especially in remote areas, to ensure students can easily reach schools. Teacher training is a crucial component of improving education access. Comprehensive training should cover various areas, such as pedagogy, subject knowledge, classroom management, and assessment techniques. This training equips teachers with the necessary skills to engage students effectively, cater to diverse learning needs, and create inclusive and supporting learning environments. While teachers should have a strong foundation in core subjects like language, mathematics, and science, there is an increasing need to prioritize STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects. The growing demand for STEM-related skills in the job market and the potential for technological advancements to drive economic growth makes this essential. By enhancing teachers' knowledge and expertise in STEM subjects, students can be better prepared for future opportunities. Providing a diverse range of educational materials that cater to different learning styles and abilities is essential. This includes textbooks, workbooks, digital resources, and hands-on material. Prioritizing the production and distribution of these materials, especially in underserved areas, can help ensure that students have access to quality learning materials relevant to their curriculum. Gender disparities in education exist in various parts of the world, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and parts of the Middle East. Factors such as cultural norms, early marriage, financial constraints, and safety concerns contribute to girls' lower enrollment rates and higher dropout rates compared to boys. Addressing these disparities requires targeted interventions that focus on increasing girls' access to education, promoting gender equality within schools, and challenging societal norms that hinder girls' education. An inspiring example comes from Rwanda. In the aftermath of the 1994 Rwandan genocide, the country faced severe challenges, including a broken education system. However, under the leadership of the Rwandan government and with international support, Rwanda implemented a comprehensive education reform strategy. They invested in infrastructure, teacher training, and curriculum development, leading to a remarkable increase in enrollment rates and a significant reduction in gender disparities in education. On the other hand, Afghanistan represents a complex case where education access remains a pressing issue. Political instability, conflict, and gender discrimination have created substantial barriers to education, particularly for women. To address this, unique strategies are needed. One approach could involve creating community-based, flexible learning centers in areas with security concerns. These centers could offer a safe environment for education and adapt to the local context. Since the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan, their rulership has had significant impact on access to education, particularly for women and girls. They have implemented policies and practices that severely hinder educational opportunities and limit the rights of women across all age groups. Here are some specific ways in which the Taliban's rulership has affected education for women. The first is the restriction on the education of women. The Taliban's ideology opposes the education of girls beyond a certain age, often around puberty. They have historically banned girls from attending schools and have frequently resorted to violence and intimidation to enforce this restriction. The second being closure of schools for girls. The Taliban has targeted and closed numerous schools for women, leaving many young girls without access to education. This has resulted in a significant decline in enrollment rates for girls and a subsequent rise in illiteracy rates among women. The third is the ban on female teachers. The Taliban has enforced a ban on female teachers, preventing women from playing a crucial role in the education system. This restriction not only limits employment opportunities for women, but also denies young girls the opportunity to be taught by female role models. The fourth is limitations on curriculum. The Taliban has imposed strict limitations on the curriculum, particularly for girls. They have promoted a conservative version of education that focuses heavily on religious studies and excludes subjects such as science, history, and critical thinking. This restricts the overall quality and breadth of education for women. And lastly, the fifth being threats and intimidation. The Taliban's presence and control have created an environment of fear and insecurity, particularly for women and girls seeking an education. The constant threat of violence and fear of being targeted for attending school or teaching have enforced many to abandon their educational pursuits. It is important to note that while the Taliban's rulership has had severe impact on women's education, there have been ongoing efforts by various organizations and individuals to support education for women in Afghanistan. These efforts aim to empower women, promote gender equality, and advocate for the right to education for all. Technology can be pivotal in expanding access to education in remote and conflict-affected areas. Initiatives like mobile classrooms with internet connectivity and digital learning resources can help bridge the education gap. It is essential to involve local communities and leaders in designing and implementing such programs to ensure cultural sensitivity and acceptance. A multi-pronged strategy is required to comprehensively address the global challenge of access to education. First, governments must prioritize education in their budgets, allocate resources equitably, and develop policies that target marginalized populations. Second, international organizations and donors should provide financial support, technical expertise, and capacity building to needy countries. Additionally, partnerships between governments, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and the private sector can be instrumental in developing innovative solutions. These partnerships can support teacher training, infrastructure development, and the creation of inclusive curricula that address local needs and challenges. One notable example of successful collaboration between NGOs and international institutions is the Global Partnership for Education, or the GPE. The GPE is a multilateral partnership that brings together governments, NGOs, international organizations, and the private sector to improve access to quality education in developing countries. The GPE partners with national governments, supporting their education plans and strategies. It provides financial resources, technical expertise, and coordination to strengthen education systems and address barriers to access. By working together, NGOs and international institutions under the GPE have implemented shared practices and innovations to improve education access, including 1. Funding allocation. NGOs and international institutions collaborate to allocate financial resources effectively. They prioritize funding for initiatives that target marginalized populations, such as children in conflict-affected areas and those from disadvantaged backgrounds. 2. Capacity building. NGOs and international institutions provide technical assistance and training to strengthen the capacity of local education systems. This includes supporting teacher training programs, developing curriculum materials, and improving school infrastructure. And number 3, advocacy and policy influence. NGOs and international institutions collaborate to advocate for policy changes and reforms that promote inclusive and equitable education. Their collaboration helps amplify voices and influence local, national, and international decision-making processes. Public-Private Partnerships, or the PPPs, can also play a significant role in increasing funding and expanding educational opportunities. By bringing together governments, private sector entities, and civil society organizations, PPPs harness the strengths and resources of each sector to address educational challenges. Here is how they can contribute. The first is increased funding. PPPs can leverage private sector investments to supplement government funding, increasing the overall financial resources available for education. This additional funding can be used to improve infrastructure, provide scholarships or grants, and support innovative educational programs. The second is expertise and innovation. The private sector often brings valuable expertise, resources, and innovative approaches. Through PPPs, private companies can collaborate with educational institutions and NGOs to develop and implement innovative solutions, such as technology-driven learning platforms or vocational training programs tailored to industry needs. Lastly, the third is scalability and sustainability. PPPs can enhance the scalability and sustainability of educational initiatives. By combining the financial resources and networks of the public and private sectors, initiatives can reach many beneficiaries and have a lasting impact. The collaboration between NGOs, international institutions, and public-private partnerships can bring about positive change in education access by pooling resources, expertise, and innovative practices to ensure that quality education is accessible to all. Leveraging technology can be a powerful tool in addressing education disparities. Here are some ways a country or institutions can do so. Number 1. Online learning platforms. Investing in online learning platforms that provide access to educational resources, interactive lessons, and assessments can significantly enhance education access. These platforms can be accessed via laptops, desktop computers, tablets, or smartphones, and can be designed to cater to different learning needs and be available in multiple languages. Number 2, mobile apps. Mobile apps can effectively deliver educational content to communities in remote areas, especially where access to laptops or desktop computers is limited. These apps can provide lessons, quizzes, and interactive exercises accessed on smartphones or basic feature phones. And number 3, devices. While laptops can provide a more comprehensive learning experience, smartphones are often more affordable and accessible in remote areas. Providing subsidies or loans for laptops or smartphones to students and teachers who need them the most can help bridge the digital divide. To acquire investments in connectivity and access to devices, political leaders, community leaders, NGOs, CEOs, and businesses can collaborate in the following ways. The first is advocacy and partnership. Leaders can advocate for increased investment in connectivity infrastructure, such as expanding broadband networks or improving cellular coverage in remote areas. Partnering with telecom companies, internet service providers, and technology companies can bring affordable and reliable internet access to underserved communities. The second, funding and grants. Political leaders, NGOs, and businesses can allocate funds or provide grants to support initiatives that improve connectivity and provide devices to schools and individuals in remote areas. This can be done through public-private partnerships or corporate social responsibility initiatives. And the third is training and digital literacy programs. To ensure the effective use of technology in education, training programs should be implemented to enhance digital literacy among teachers and students. NGOs, community leaders, and businesses can collaborate to provide training sessions, workshops, or online courses to equip educators and learners with the necessary skills to navigate digital learning platforms and utilize educational apps effectively. By investing in connectivity, devices, and digital literacy, stakeholders from various sectors can contribute to bridging the education gap and ensuring that technology becomes an accessible tool for learning, especially in remote and underserved communities. Education access disparities are a global challenge, requiring concerted efforts from governments, international organizations, and civil society. The Rwanda case demonstrates that significant progress can be made with the right strategies and commitment, even in the most challenging circumstances. In Afghanistan, tailored and innovative approaches are essential to overcome the unique barriers to education access. Policymakers and leaders must prioritize education as a cornerstone of sustainable development and invest in strategies that ensure equitable access for all, regardless of their geographic location or socioeconomic background. Addressing education access in Niger is a critical endeavor that requires a thoughtful and strategic approach. Understanding how to navigate this complex issue and work towards meaningful solutions is essential. Let us frame this situation as a narrative to make it more relatable and memorable for your diplomatic efforts. Imagine you are a diplomat visiting Niger, a country facing significant challenges in education access. You are meeting with local leaders, educators, and community members, and you want to make a lasting impact. Here is how you can approach this. The first thing you're going to try to do is understand the landscape. Begin by gaining a deeper understanding of the educational landscape in Niger. Recognize the existing disparities, including low enrollment rates, limited infrastructure, and gender imbalances in access. Understand the cultural and social factors that contribute to these disparities. The second thing you'll do is engage with local leaders. Building trust and partnerships with local leaders is crucial. Sit down with tribal chiefs, community elders, and religious leaders. Acknowledge their role as influencers and enlist their support in advocating for education, particularly for girls. The third thing you can do is invest in infrastructure. Education cannot flourish without proper infrastructure. Advocate for investments in schools, especially in rural areas. Build modern classrooms, provide clean drinking water, and ensure safe transportation options for students. The fourth thing you can do is teacher training and recruitment. Focus on improving the quality of education by investing in teacher training and recruitment. Encourage local talent to become educators and provide ongoing professional development opportunities to enhance teacher quality. The fifth thing would be to work on girls' education empowerment. Recognize the importance of girls' education. Work with local NGOs to provide scholarships, school supplies, and safe spaces for girls to learn. Organize awareness campaigns to change cultural attitudes that may hinder girls' education. The sixth thing would be to leverage technology. Consider innovative solutions like mobile classrooms equipped with solar power technology in remote areas. This can bring quality education to hard-to-reach regions. The seventh is community engagement. Foster a sense of ownership among communities by involving them in decision-making processes regarding education. Encourage parents to actively participate in their children's education and monitor their progress. The eighth is working with partnerships and international aid. Engage with international organizations, donor countries, and NGOs to secure financial and technical support. Showcase Niger's commitment to improving education access and align with global goals like the Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs. Number 9 is monitor and evaluate progress. Establish a system to monitor and evaluate the impact of education initiatives. Regularly assess enrollment rates, learning outcomes, and the overall effectiveness of your program. Adjust strategies based on feedback and data. And lastly, the 10th thing is advocate for policy change. Work with the government to reform education policies. Advocate for legislation that promotes free and compulsory education for all children, focusing on eliminating gender disparities. Addressing education access in Niger requires a multifaceted approach that combines infrastructure development, community engagement, and policy advocacy. As a diplomatic representative, your role is to provide financial aid, build bridges, facilitate partnerships, and inspire local leadership to take ownership of the education challenges. By weaving these elements into your diplomatic efforts, you can contribute significantly to improving education access in Niger and leave a lasting legacy of positive change. Now, to get the community involved and spread awareness for sustainable change in education, the following steps can be taken. Number 1, communication and outreach. Regular communication and outreach efforts are crucial to engage parents, communities, and civil society organizations. This can include organizing community meetings, workshops, or town halls to discuss the importance of education and the benefits of sustainable change. Utilizing various communication channels, such as social media, local radio, or community newsletters, can also help spread awareness. Number 2, collaborative partnership. Building strong partnerships requires engaging parents, communities, and civil society organizations. collaborating with local organizations, community leaders, and parent-teacher associations can foster a sense of ownership and collective responsibility for education. These partnerships involve joint planning, resource sharing, and decision-making processes to create environments suitable for education. And number 3, empowering and involving stakeholders. To create sustainable change, it is essential to empower and involve stakeholders. This can be done by providing training and capacity building programs for parents, community members, and civil society organizations, engaging them in decision-making processes, encouraging their active participation in school activities, and involving them in monitoring and evaluation efforts can help create a sense of ownership and accountability. Collaborative partnerships are likely the most important of the 3 steps for sustainable change. Building strong partnerships, involving multiple stakeholders, and fostering collective responsibility can achieve a sustainable and long-lasting impact. Collaborative partnerships ensure that the efforts for change are inclusive, representative, and rooted in the community's specific needs and contexts. This approach allows for pooling resources, knowledge, and expertise, leading to more effective and holistic solutions. Finland is an excellent example of community engagement and collaboration in education. Finland has a strong tradition of involving parents, communities, and civil society organizations in education. The Finnish education system emphasizes collaboration between schools, parents, and local communities. Parents are actively engaged through parent-teacher associations and are encouraged to participate in decision-making processes. Community involvement in education policy and practices has contributed to Finland's success in providing high-quality education and achieving equitable student outcomes. In conclusion, the global challenge of education access requires a multidimensional approach. Financial investments, targeted interventions, and addressing social and cultural barriers are essential strategies for addressing the disparities in education access worldwide. Efforts should focus on promoting awareness, challenging societal norms, and implementing interventions to address specific challenges such as child labor and gender inequalities. Building long-term sustainability in education systems through capacity building initiatives and research is crucial. Moreover, bridging the digital divide through investments in technology infrastructure and collaborations with international partners is necessary to ensure equitable access to education. Consequently, providing education for those who need it can be challenging, particularly around affordability and accessibility, as well as geographical diversity and the number of people requiring such courses. Given such challenges, opportunities for using technologies and international education collaboratives are immense. To tackle the global challenge of education access, it is essential to recognize the worldwide disparities. As we draw the curtains on this episode of the Diplomacy and Discourse podcast, I extend my deepest gratitude for your viewership and listenership. If you have found this discussion as enlightening and thought-provoking as we have, we humbly request your continued support. Please consider liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast platform. Your active engagement and feedback remain the bedrock of our growth, allowing us to connect with a broader audience of curious minds. Should you have any questions, thoughts, or suggestions, please contact us at diplomacyanddiscourse@gmail.com. Your contributions continue to steer our course. Once more, thank you for being an essential member of our community. Your support is cherished, and we eagerly anticipate more riveting conversations and episodes that inspire exploration. Until our subsequent encounter, take care and continue your journey into the fascinating realm of diplomacy and discourse.